Hey folks, Phil Gallagher here for another round of daily D&T with our 2-drop taxes deck. That one's an easy mulligan. My opponent also mulligans. This hand is pretty strong. We'll be throwing back our Jitte. Alright, we're probably playing against some sort of maybe painter deck that can like grind that out for value. I'm going to play my Vial. I think the Phyrexian Revoker over time represents a lot of value. And I'd like the opportunity to start ticking up towards that. I see myself wastelanding my opponent next turn, but I'd much rather have the Vial in play when I do that. Alright, it appears that I have chosen wisely. It is Painter. Sacrifice it for value. That was not a play that I was expecting coming into this turn. Guess we're revoking that. I don't know that I've ever revoked this one before. I definitely would not have known the name of this card off the top of my head. So glad I revoked that. Holy cow. This would be a real hot spot for a Swords to Plowshares. Like, Swords Painter, kill this, waste that. Oh, my lands are ugly. I'd like to kill Duretti and then Charming Prince my Revoker onto Grindstone. No Charming Prince worse than Flicker Wisp here. If I had Flicker Wisp, I'd just flicker the Painter, kill the Duretti. I think I'm going to try to constrain my opponent's mana. This is a play that's going to hurt me a bit, but hopefully it hurts my opponent more. It at least means that I'm definitely not dead to the combo for at least a turn. Note, don't get Sword of Fire and Ice versus Painter's Servant. Doesn't work the way that you want. I think I want Jitte as removal. And in case my previous comment wasn't clear, Painter Servant makes everything blue, right? So everything has protection from blue. Your Sword of Fire and Ice gives protection from blue once it's equipped, so it just, like, falls off and is sad. Please don't blast my Jitte and make me look like a fool. So now next turn we can kill Duretti and blink Revoker onto Grindstone and be pretty safe. Your Revoker on my Jitte resolves. Goblin Welder welding Ichor Wellspring for Ichor Wellspring every turn is also a problem. Boy, this Revoker is overworked. Swords to Plowshares. No? Okay. Duretti is, I guess, still the scariest thing on the other side of the board. I guess I'm getting a Batterskull to attack through the board. Crap, this Goblin Welder problem is a little worse than I initially realized. I forgot that they destroyed one of my Ether Vials early, and I hope they've forgotten too, because otherwise they can do things like just weld out my Batterskull for an Aether Vial and kind of foil me. Please forget, dear opponent. Well, alright, that can happen too. Maybe they won't activate for a while. They activated. Alright, so I want more answers to their permanents. So that's these. Jailer's probably pretty good as a card draw engine. And I don't know how I feel about Prelate. Like, putting it on one is, I guess, okay, but And I can put on larger numbers for their planeswalkers, but I don't know that that's doing enough. So I think these are the cards that I'm going to be considering. Sword of Fire and Ice is pretty bad if they have a painter, so let's get that out of the deck. Give her runes, giving protection from colorless or from Doretti seems fine. Canonist as my one of seems bad. Probably drop a Stoneforge. I'll probably drop my Tomix. Although I guess if my opponent is playing the, is it Ancient? No, Ancient and Select one. Great Furnace. Tomic does stop that from being welded, so that's not nothing. Maybe let's trim a couple of Charming Princes. My vials were a liability that game because they allowed my Revoker to be welded out, potentially. I don't know that that means that I should, like, trim one or anything. I don't know, like, resetting my stuff can be really important for this matchup. Try this. This is an unexciting but powerful hand. It's the sort of hand where we're really hoping to get ahead of my opponent on curve, though. If they have a powerful turn one play, I'm going to feel much less good about this hand. That one's okay to hit play now. Hopefully. Unless they just curve like Painter into land. In which case I'm a little more scared. Because that'll mean like one removal spell at any point will mean my doom. Does this work both ways? No. My mana's awkward this turn because I can't do two different things due to my own Folly attacks. So, like, obviously I'm taking the attack. But then I can't, like, both Revoker and Path to Exile. Or I can't, like, Jitte and do something else effectively. So, this costs 1 to activate. My opponent drew Soul Land. They could go Soul Land, Activate Grindstone. Hold priority. Goblin Engineer Grindstone into Painter Servant, and I'll die. So I'm going to go ahead and revoke Grindstone. I don't really want to path immediately, because pathing immediately will ramp them and work against the Thalia that I have in play. I would really just like to path the exile. Man, exactly what I talked about. So glad I played around that. A Blood Moon. You bet, friend. You bet. I will enjoy my 4 basic planes over here. Admittedly, with that draw, the Blood Moon looks a little better. So totally fine with attacking with both here. This does require mana to activate, right? Yeah. Totally fine with attacking with both. I don't know that my opponent can afford to sack the Goblin Engineer at this stage. And I don't think my opponent can kill me in this turn cycle. It would have to involve like a Simian Spirit Guide. It's like 4 mana alone to just like, well, yeah, so it's 4 mana alone to just like put Painter Servant in play and activate Grindstone. So they would need like a 1 mana removal spell to get rid of Revoker, a Blast. It's not 100% safe to tap out for Jitte. Well, effectively tap out for Jitte, but I'm going to do so. Like, if they have a line that involves Simian Spirit Guide that kills me, I'll totally accept it. But I think if I play too scared, I'm going to lose this game. Can you Goblin Engineer a Lotus Petal into Painter Servant? No, because you can't sacrifice it twice for the same thing. Am I casting with Path to Exile now? I don't think I am. Nice. So I can play Mountain, equip Jitte, attack, still have Path to Exile up to answer Painter Servant in response to a Grindstone activation. Alternatively, I can just like play Sarah Avenger, equip the Jitte to it, and pass, and not endanger my Revoker, which is potentially just better. I don't think I need to get needlessly aggressive here. So everything's white. Why is everything white and not blue? Oh, I see. Sulfur elemental reasons. Oh, this is super interesting now. That means that my Jitte connections can go and kill these creatures more easily. So I might not want to kill the painter because the blasts aren't counterspells right now. Okay. What a weird world. God, if they have a Thoughtseize, that's so rough for me. Smuggler Copter is fine. I'm not gonna say good for me, but like it's a thing. So I think I am fine with attempting to trade Avenger for Smuggler's Copter, although I think my opponent is just going to weld in response. Like they're going to block, loot, weld Copter into Grindstone. If they don't do that, I get Jitte counters and life is grand. Okay. They return a Grindstone, that's fine. You probably should have let your looting trigger resolve first. But that's all fine. So now I think while my opponent is tapped out and can't weld this, I should probably answer the Painter's Servant. And then I have 8 damage in the air next turn. I have them dead in 2 turns. I'm just hoping that they can't assemble another Painter in this turn cycle. So they would need to play Painter here, activate Grindstone next turn. Otherwise, we can get into these weird, like, like turn Grindstone into Smuggler's Copter, get rid of my Smuggler's Copter sort of situations. Note, connecting with Jitte once is really good while the Sulfur Elemental is in play, because my opponent's painter will have 2 toughness. So I can kill with Jitte counters. Okay, another grindstone, that's fine. Sulfur Elemental attack would kind of make sense to me there as well. So I assume this is going to be Ichor Wellspring into Smuggler's Copter. Smuggler's Copter block the one that has the Jitte on it. Don't know that I've ever had a Sulfur Elemental be so good for me. That's brutal. Take it back, Sulfur Elemental. You're still scum. Well, now we played their player cards out. If they got it, they got it. I need to start playing towards some of the contingency plan situations that involve, like, recruiter for something else in a single turn. Feels like we need Cataclysm. So I'm going to stop playing lands and start playing towards Cataclysm now. Does this creature get +1/+1 for each artifact you control? It sure doesn't look like that. 2 Stoneforge, play Batterskull. Opponent can minus and kill Jitte or Batterskull. They get their choice. Then I can get Jitte counters or have a Batterskull. Alternatively, I can just fetch the Batterskull, not play it out, and play it when I get to 8 mana to protect it. The Jitte counters aren't really all that good. They'll kill Goblin Engineer, though, and I don't know that I can beat like this Ichor Screen for Construct sort of thing every turn forever. Oh, I only have 4 more lands. Never mind, it's clear what I'm doing then. Actually, it's probably the redundant Grindstone that goes first, now that I think about it. Yeah. All right. GG. That game swung wildly. I thought my opponent's Sulfur Elemental was going to win us the game, but Pyrokinesis is a hell of a drug. I'll see you all back tomorrow.